What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over 5 things you should not be doing in your turbocharged vehicle. Now, turbocharged engines, I am a big fan of owning. I own this, the 2020 Toyota Supra and the Nissan GT-R. Having turbos is really cool because you have a smaller displacement engine, but with the turbo, which uses the exhaust gas to help compress more air to go into the engine to give you more power, it just makes the car just so much fun to drive. There's tuning potential. You can get so much power out of these turbo engines. So the first thing on the list, we're going to be talking about brake boosting. Now, if you are into competitive racing, you know exactly what brake boosting is. If you're doing roll racing, you know what that is, and you probably are going to be doing it in certain areas. Now, what is brake boosting? Basically, you're going to be holding your brake and giving it acceleration at the same time, basically putting more stress on the engine, transmission, and all the components, and basically spooling up that turbo for the moment you let off the brake and do full throttle. The turbo's already spooled, you're not going to have any turbo lag. So just to demonstrate turbo lag a little bit, when you first accelerate, there's not really any power, and then the power comes on. So I'm going to hold the brake. Alright, so it worked. So basically, I don't know if the camera really picks that up, holding the brake a little bit just makes the engine get ready to go, and we'll do it in 3rd gear now. So brake. So I had no turbo lag at all. So that is pretty cool. The downside of that is it puts a ton of stress on the components. And one of my friends who had a built Evo was doing a lot of roll racing and a lot of, I think, 2nd or 3rd gear brake boosting, and he exploded the transmission because that thing was running like 700 horsepower, and you're putting kind of all that power into the transmission. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to be doing, but it will cause a lot of stress on the components, and you could, like my friend, explode your transmission. Is it necessary in racing? Yes, for that split-second difference, absolutely. You know, time is what you're going for, but in general, you know, it's going to put a lot of stress, so just be cautious of that. Not to say you shouldn't do it, but if you're going to do it, understand you could explode something at some point, so just keep that in mind. So for number 2 on the list, that goes with warming up the vehicle. Now, every car is going to have a cooling gauge showing you your coolant level, basically the temperature of the engine. Now, one thing I don't like about this car, there's no oil gauge. In my GT-R, in my previous, the 370Z, we have oil gauges in those cars. You can see the actual temperature of the oil. Now, the oil takes longer to warm up than your coolant. Your coolant is going to warm up in honestly just a few minutes, but the oil is probably still going to be pretty cold. Now, with a turbocharged car, your engine oil is actually also going into the turbo, helping it cool the turbo. So if you first get into your car and your coolant level is up to the normal operating temperature, right when the coolant gets to operating temp, your oil's still not there yet. So if you're getting on the car, flooring it, you're basically using thicker, cooler oil to try to cool the turbo. And honestly, that's going to heat up the turbo more than it should. It's not going to get efficiently cooled down and efficiently run. So when you're in your turbocharged car and you first start it up every day, don't just start flooring it once the coolant gets there. Give it another 5 minutes just to make sure the oil is up to temperature. If you do have some sort of oil temperature gauge, make sure you are taking a look at that constantly, making sure you know at what point it gets to operating temperature. And then on the flip side, to move to number 3, that is kind of the opposite. In your turbocharged car, especially after doing a lot of aggressive driving, if you've been on the track or in the mountains, when you come to a stop, let your car idle for a little bit. So I'm in a parking lot right now. Let's say I'd just been out doing some crazy runs in the mountains. If I put into park, now actually this has the auto start stop feature, don't have that work. So let's let it idle for a little bit, 30 seconds to a minute, because when your car stops, there's still gonna be oil sitting in the turbo. And if you just got off of some hot laps or something, that is oil sitting in a very, very hot piece of metal. And it's basically going to be cooking the oil a little bit. It'll be breaking it down quicker. It'll be leaving deposits in the turbo, and you don't want that. Over time, that'll make everything less efficient, and it breaks down the oil more to where you're gonna need to do oil changes more frequently. And it's just not a good thing. A lot of high performance turbo cars will have what's called a turbo timer, which basically makes the engine idle a little bit longer once you've shut it off. Oil is very important in a turbocharged car. You just want to make sure everything is really, really good. So with that said, on to number 4, which is lugging the engine. Now, like we talked about with turbo lag, that is the turbo waiting to get full boost. When it hits full boost, that's maximum torque. In this car has about 400 pound-feet of torque at the wheels in the stock configuration. That is a ton of torque, and basically lugging the engine is going to be in a gear disadvantage. So this is an 8-speed transmission. If I'm under 2,000 RPM, there's not exactly any power. So I'm in 5th gear right now at 2,000. If I floor it, Takes a while. Now we're starting to get up to speed, but it took quite a while, and that is actually putting a lot of pressure onto the transmission of the vehicle versus if I'm at 30 miles an hour, maybe I should be around 3,000 RPM in third gear, and instantly we had power. It's basically like riding a bicycle, those like 10-speed bicycles. Think about being in the worst gear going uphill. You're trying to pedal, but it's really, really hard to pedal uphill. You want to put it down into a gear to where you can pedal really easily and make it up a steep hill. It's kind of the same thing. You don't want to put all that pressure on the transmission when it's in such a higher gear because it's just not designed for that. If you're going to accelerate, downshift into the correct gear, get yourself around 3,000 RPM, and then you can enjoy the power, actually have some fun with it. So lugging the engine, there's no point to do that. You're wasting time, you're putting excessive stress on the engine. No reason to do that. Get in the optimal gear and then have some fun. So then the last thing on the list, we're going to kind of lump two things at once. First thing is put high octane in your gas. When you have lower octane, you could have pre-ignition to where the engine knocks and ignites before it should. And generally speaking, you will get more horsepower out of higher octane. So if you are going to be tuning your car, the higher octane you go, the more power you can get. It just handles the pressure a lot better. That's literally what an octane rating does. And then on to the second part of this last one is just how you're driving your turbo car. If you're not familiar with turbos, these things have, like we talked about, turbo lag. So if you are in a corner and you are flooring it, understand the engine is not as smooth and linear as a normally aspirated, just standard like a V6 or V8. There's going to be no power and then instant power, and you can easily spin out in a turbo car. You can easily break the rear tires loose. Turbo cars, there's no power, and then instant power, and then it starts falling flat. So if you're going around a turn and you mash the gas, there's a good chance your tail end is going to slide right out. So with driving a turbo car, just slowly get on it, slowly learn how it responds to the amount of acceleration you do. Because last thing you want to do is wrap it around a tree. That is not going to be a fun thing to do. So I think that is about everything to go over with turbocharged cars, things you shouldn't do with them. They are really fun to drive. I'm a big fan of them. Tuning potential is pretty crazy. You can get these things way more powerful than a stock configuration with just some basic bolt-on parts and a nice tune. So they are definitely fun to drive. They make some fun noises. Definitely a completely different experience than other types of engines out there. And if you're going to buy a turbo car, you of course want it to last as long as possible. So anyways, that is going to wrap up today's video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Be sure to give it a huge thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next video.